Good morning, everybody. We're back. We're here. I'm talking mainly now to our new listeners. Hopefully, we get new listeners. Your old listeners already know this. The purpose of this show is to help you buy a car, lease a car, without being taken advantage of by car dealers. You've all heard me. You regulars know that the annual poll, Gallup annual poll on honesty and ethics in professions, ranks car dealers at the bottom. Been doing that for about 50 years. Every year, they're either next to last or last, and it hasn't changed. Now, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we've been talking about that on this show. Very exciting news about Federal Trade Commission regulations, and we're going to enlist your help to see that these regulations go into effect in July this year, July 30th. But as you might guess, the car dealers, they're fighting it tooth and nail. The National Automobile Dealers Association has joined with the Texas Auto Dealers Association to block it in the courts. And I'm actually working with the Federal Trade Commission. I've had several conversations, and I've given them my statement to present to the court to help prevent this. It's called the Combating Auto Retail Scams, CARS. I love that acronym. Combating Auto Retail Scams. As I say, the Federal Trade Commission is going to try to have those rules go into effect in July, but there's a fight going on, so we'll talk about that later in the show. But the essence of the show is the here and now. The here and now is most people are driving combustion engine cars. Most people are buying cars at regular car dealerships that create problems for them. It's a real struggle. So we're here to help. Remember, the problems not only lie in the buying and leasing, but in the maintaining and repairing. We have in our studio, all you regulars know, Rick Kearney. A lot of YouTube followers are following Rick Kearney right now. Rick Kearney is a certified diagnostic master technician. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying he can fix just about any car. And we call him cars, we call him a mechanic, but he's really he's a computer specialist. That's what cars are today, a computer on wheels. And they're challenging to you and me. A lot of us who grew up with cars and grew up with combustion engine cars, we were used to tinkering, or we would do a lot of things ourselves, and cars were basically simple. Today they're extremely complex. So when you have an issue with a car, you're pretty much at a disadvantage when you go into a car dealership to have it fixed, or for that matter, an independent mechanic. So we say call Rick Kearney at 877-960-9960. If you have a friend or a relative or yourself and you have a car that's making a noise, maybe you smell something that isn't quite right, maybe something's dripping out of the car on the garage or the floor, you want to be sure that something more serious doesn't happen, especially when you're driving the car. So rather than blindly drive into a repair shop and say, I got a problem with my car, please fix it, here's my checkbook, that's what you're doing. Because if you go in there unprepared, you can really be taken advantage of. Call Rick, 877-960-9960. Rick can steer you into the possible fix, or maybe it doesn't need to be fixed, or he might also suggest that you get 3 or 4 bids on the repair. But he can pretty well diagnose it. That's the key. Once you have the diagnosis, you can establish the price, and you can also be able to negotiate the price by getting competitive bids. So 877-960-9960, or text us at 772-497-6530, 772-497-6530. Now, we're streaming the show, so we are in video, and we're streaming it on YouTube, and that's the channel that Rick is channeling everything today because my son Stu is not going to be here, so he'll be looking at our text at 772-497-6530. He'll also be looking at youtube.com/Earl on Cars. That's youtube.com/Earl on Cars. And if you will just tell Rick or tell us tell Nancy Stewart, who's sitting to my left, what your problem is. We can get Rick to address it. We can also help you with buying, leasing, giving you advice on how not to be taken advantage of. Nancy Stewart is my co-host. She helped me when I founded this show about 2 decades ago. And we were just a little bitty half-hour show on a radio station called Seaview. Now we're 2 hours, and we're on every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live right here in North Palm Beach, Florida. And as I say, you can stream us, you can check our podcast. There's so many ways that we disseminate information out there that you can tap to help your car buying, car repairing, car leasing life a little bit easier. Now, we have a special thing that we do to try to keep the ladies involved with the show. If you're my age or even a little younger, cars are kind of a guy thing, and fixing cars and mechanics, kind of a guy thing. Well, no more. It's become, it always has been that the ladies influence a huge number of purchases. Now they buy about half the cars. They should be of extreme importance to the car dealers, and they certainly are to the manufacturers. So Nancy has a special offer to encourage the ladies in the audience, the listening audience, to call the show. Call the show, express your ideas, your views, your opinions. If you have questions, we will address those questions. And if you haven't called the show before, Nancy was going to tell you about a very special offer that you will get. It sounds too good to be true, but I promise you it's not. Nancy, the mic is all yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this fantastic morning. Great weather, isn't it? 877-960-9960 is how you can reach us. And ladies, do you have a car purchasing or service that you want to share with us? Or maybe just give us a call and talk. Our number here, again, is 877-960-9960. And I have $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Yes, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. So take advantage of that and call us at 877-960-9960. We have Emerson, a mixed breed, and he is just so cute. He's just a little thing. And when I say a little thing, he's about 11 and a half pounds. And his name is Emerson, and he's just as cute as he could be, so stay tuned for that. Just about 9:30 this morning. We're going to go straight to the phones, and we're going to talk to Howard, who's been holding, and we'll get right with you, Rick.
Hi, Howard.
Good morning.
Good
Hope
morning.
you all are well in this frigid Florida. And I don't know what's happening, but I've been here for 2 months, and it feels like I'm still up in New York. However, not really, because it's 15 degrees in New York City today.
Oh.
So I'm happy to be here. I have a question about car rentals. My son's coming in the 24th of February. And he said, I'm going to rent the car at the airport. And I told him, be careful because it's going to cost more money. Now, my question is, why does it cost more money at the airport? And where can he rent a car and get a good deal?
Well, it's called supply and demand. It's kind of a captive audience. You come in, if you did not look ahead in your trip, which we recommend you always do if you're going to rent a car, you can always find a lower priced car. Even if you have to take an Uber to the rental agency, if it's off-site, the rental car agencies representing the airports pay a ton of money to the airport in rent. They have a very high overhead, and they pay that extra money because they get the first shot at people that need to rent a car but forgot to make reservations before they got on the airplane. So here they are in the airport, and they're in a strange city probably, not familiar with the city, and that's why they're renting a car. And how are they going to find a lower price rental car when they don't know where to go? So Hertz, Avis, National, typically these are the ones that you see in the airports. and they will charge you an arm and a leg. You're right. I would recommend. Even if I forgot to make the reservations, I would probably grab a. Do they have phone books anymore? I guess I'd go. I guess I'd go to Google, and I would say low price rental cars in Syracuse or wherever you may be landing, and they'll have a whole bunch of information. And then you grab an Uber, and you take it there, and you rent the car. You save yourself $10-20 a day. I mean, the money that the airport rentals get are huge.
No, I'll pick him up from the airport. And
Yeah, Howard will pick you up.
Yeah, but a question: you rent cars, don't you, Earl?
We have a rental car company. Yeah, my dealership does, and we have. We'll rent a car to anybody. Now, the truth of the matter is, today, rental cars are overpriced because cars are overpriced. It's an inflation in the automotive world, and extends. We have a certain size fleet. We're usually out of cars, and that probably is the case with a lot of independents. It's supply and demand. The insurance companies kind of set the market because they rent a huge amount of cars for their insured, and what they will pay tends to be what the rental car companies will have for their lowest price car. If you want anything beyond their basic car, you're going to pay a whole lot more. So, there's always a car available inside the city that you're flying into that is going to be a much less expensive than the one that you rent at the airport. But even that car that you rent at the lower price, quote unquote, rental car company is going to charge you $10 more a day than it would have cost you 5 years ago.
Good information. One other question. Actually, it's a statement. A friend of mine has a Genesis, and his radio wasn't working. So he went to Napleton, and they wanted $600 just to diagnose it. Then he went to, listen to this one. Then he went to Stewart. I don't know the name of the dealer in Stewart, and they only wanted $250. So you can see what a crook Napleton is.
Yeah.
Then he went on the internet, and they told him to disconnect the battery and connect it, and his radio started working. So I can't understand why that happened.
To be honest with you, I kind of don't understand how Napleton exists either. For your regular followers, Howard, you're a regular. You've heard all the the Napleton stories. I mean, you could write 5 books on the way he's taken advantage of people. The interesting thing is that he's a large dealership group. He owns, I want to say, 25, 30 dealerships, and they're scattered around. A lot of them in Florida, but in other states. His father started the business, and he continued it. Now I think his daughter is in charge. It's a family-owned business, and the Federal Trade Commission has been all over him in multiple cases. He's been involved in multiple lawsuits with employees and customers. Even the manufacturers have sued Napleton. He's had big fights with Nissan. I don't know about Hyundai, but I think all the manufacturers that he represents would love to get rid of him. I think they're just they're stuck with him. You know, the franchise that car dealers have is something that is almost impossible for the manufacturers to get out of, and that's the reason that car dealers are the only place you can buy a car, with some exceptions like electric vehicle manufacturers. Tesla sells you directly, but that's a loophole in the law there. But yeah, why does Napleton exist? We every time the Federal Trade Commission goes after him and finds him a ton of money, we go out and we shop at another Napleton store, and he's worse than he was before. So he doesn't care. He's got so much money, I guess, that he feels like he can get away with it. And I guess he feels like he can make more money stealing than he can doing it honestly. And I hope this Federal Trade Commission proves him wrong in July.
Well, I hope there are repercussions now, because he was free and clear. No one did anything. Maybe he was fined something, but didn't matter to him because he was making so much money.
Yeah, yeah. He's not. He lives in Palm Beach. As a matter of fact, a lot of people live in Palm Beach. Look, Terry Taylor, the mystery man. We'll talk about that later in the show. He's a billionaire. He's the largest owner of independent dealerships in the world. Terry Taylor. So I think Napleton, Ed Napleton's over in Palm Beach enjoying. He's probably playing golf and having a ball. And he's got all these dealerships, and they keep sending him money, and he's trying to spend it as fast as he can. So he doesn't know what's going on. He probably doesn't even read the newspaper. I guess we don't have newspapers anymore, do we? I do.
We have a lot of newspapers. Okay, guys, I'm going to interrupt you. Howard, the bottom line here, Napleton is living up to their reputation, and we certainly hope that the Federal Trade Commission really can help us, with every week, week in and week out for years, stressing to the audience, dishonest dealers. So the FTC is going to come around, and I have a lot of faith in them. So July I believe Earl said July 30th.
Right.
We're all going to be looking at that date. And Howard, it's a pleasure talking to you. I got about 5 calls backed up. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thanks, Howard.
All right. Bye. Thank you. We're going to go to Rick, who's calling us from Hope Sound.
Hey, Rick.
Hello.
Good morning,
Hey,
Rick.
good morning, everybody. Yeah, nice. I listen every weekend. Great show. It's funny Howard just mentioned the dealership up in Stewart because I was there yesterday. It's the Hyundai dealership. I've been buying from them about almost 10 years. Great place. So he's right.
Great. I didn't know.
I got an offer yesterday, and there was some fees on it that I questioned, and maybe you can help me out with this. One was a registration fee of $450, electronic filing fee $159, a tire fee was $6 and change. Naturally, the dealer fee was on there $849. So is $450 for a registration fee? Is that normal?
Well, it's hard to say without knowing the car, and the license and registration varies with the car and with your date of birth and whether you're trading a car in or buying a car outright. But $450 is not way out of line, but it could be. I mean, it depends on the specifics. The question to ask is this fee being paid to the state of Florida? And that's we call most of what you listed there. Rick, are the junk fees. The difference between a junk fee and a government fee, which is a legitimate fee, is the dealer doesn't keep the money. He pays it to either the federal or the state government. The tire fee, the small one you mentioned, I think it's probably $6.50. As small as that is, that's a legitimate fee paid to the federal government. The registration, of course, goes to the state of Florida. Sales tax goes to the state of Florida. Those are legitimate fees. So the test, if you really want to, if you're going to have to argue with the dealer about it, check the buyer's order, the vehicle buyer's order. And if they calculate Florida sales tax on a quote-unquote fee, then it's not really a fee, it's profit. You have to pay sales tax on anything on the car that is not paid out to the government. So an out-the-door price on that Hyundai you want to buy is got to be plus federal or state taxes only, and that's an out-the-door price. Everything else is a junk fee that they added to the price they quoted you.
And the electronic file fee, you mean?
What's that? Electronic filing fee. Yeah, that's one of the most devious fees because somebody gave that some thought and say we need to trick our buyer, the customer, into thinking this is really a government fee. So this sounds pretty good. Electronic filing fee. Electronic filing fee there are companies out there. We use a company that does our registration at my dealership, and we pay them $10 for the. It's not a government fee, by the way. I pay my salesman a commission too, and I pay my light bill. All my expenses should be baked into the price of the car when I quote it to you. But the electronic filing fee is not really a fee. It's a cost the dealer pays a private company to do the registration work. And he pays about $10. Then he's charging you hundreds of dollars and try to trick you to think that they're paying it to the state of Florida. State of Florida doesn't see any of that money.
Okay. Getting back to the registration fee, the manager, I questioned it, and I says to him, "It doesn't cost $450 to change my plate over to that car." And he says to me, "You're probably right. It's probably only about $200 or something."
Then they're really in trouble, because if they are not paying Florida sales tax on that $450, let's say they're only paying the sales tax. That's cheating the state of Florida, because the state of Florida won't let them get away with omitting sales tax just because they call a junk fee a registration fee. If it's not a registration fee paid to the state of Florida and they don't pay sales tax, they've probably been doing that on hundreds or thousands of cars. They're subject to audit by the state of Florida, and they could charge them back hundreds of thousands of dollars. So. You could call the Department of Motor Vehicles and say, "I'm buying this car, I'm trading in this car, and my date of birth is this. What should my registration fees be?" And they'll tell you exactly. You could actually have the car registered by them, and they will tell you what the real registration fee is. And if the dealer at Stewart is lying about the registration fee, he's really getting himself in big trouble. You could tell the Department of Motor Vehicles, they'd audited him on that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate the call.
All right. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We're going to go to Bob in Lake Park. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How is everybody this morning?
Good.
Good. I wanted to talk to you about last week with a shopping report at a local Ford dealer, and remember there used to be a called Paul Harvey, and he would tell a story. Say, "This is the rest." So here's the rest of the story.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
You're cutting in and out.
You're breaking up. Can you go to another phone or give us a call back?
Yeah, I could call you back.
Okay, thank you. 877-960-9960.
I hope he does, because I love those old Paul Harvey. And now you know the rest of the story.
I'll tell you, there's nobody who will replace him.
No.
That's for sure. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Ladies, $50 for the first two new lady callers. Give us a call. And, let me ask you this, just to put this out there, ladies. What was the first question you asked before buying a car, that you asked yourself or asked anyone? And did you go straight to the internet? 877-960-9960. We're going to go to Wally, who's been holding from Boca. Good morning, Wally.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I enjoy listening to your show every Saturday morning. Very interesting and educational. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. It's in reference to an extended warranty directly from the manufacturer, not from a second or third party, directly from the manufacturer, who is BMW. I bought a 2021 3 Series BMW off of my lease. My lease was expiring in October. My car only has 33,000 miles on it. It's in perfect condition. I've constantly had it oil change maintained according to BMW, what they require at the BMW dealership, whether it was in Florida or it was up north in the Boston area. As I said, the car only has 33,000 miles. I just brought it in for an oil change, and the dealer did a, I would guess I'd call it an inspection, if you would. At that time, BMW, whether they required it or not, I had it done. It cost me probably around, I don't know, maybe $300 or so. My question to them at the time was, whenever I bring a car in, I automatically get a video from the mechanic, and it's whether it was an oil change or a front end alignment or whatever. And I was told that no, this is different. This is a total check sheet that they go through, which is fine. Anyhow, bottom line, the car came out perfect. So
Great.
this is really my question. I talked to the dealership, and of course, according to BMW, you have to buy an extended warranty, through the dealership. So I sat down with somebody at the dealership in Coconut Creek, and they were totally decent. The bottom line is to extend the warranty from BMW that covers everything that the car covers for the first 4 years. I'm looking at about $1,100 a year. So with tax and all, I'm looking at roughly $3,500 to extend the warranty for 3 additional years, up to 75,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
I only put on 10,000 miles a year, so that would absolutely cover the mileage. That's not a problem. But my question is, what is your feeling about the extended warranty where labor rates are so expensive at BMW dealerships for anything at all? I could see spending $1,000 without a problem in a year, or $1,100, whatever. So with that said, I'm going to ask you for your opinion, please.
Well, I basically have this philosophy about extended warranties. Now, you've done the right thing by considering only the manufacturer's extended warranty. That's number one. It's legitimate. They're not going to lie, cheat, or steal. If you buy an extended warranty from one of these independent companies or through the dealerships, many dealers own their own warranty companies and sell you, and they design their own warranties, and it's very, very risky when you buy that. BMW is legitimate. Now, you've owned that BMW you didn't own it, but you leased it, so you know the car pretty well. You know,
Yes.
probably ran well for you. You like it. That's the reason you exercise your option to purchase it, and you've had good experience. You've maintained the car properly. I don't see any need to spend that kind of money on the extended warranty. I promise you that on average, the dealership and BMW are making a ton of money by selling those warranties. And that's simply because the repair costs that they have to take care of when there is a claim on the warranty is far less than the premium you pay. $1,100 a month for 3 years or whatever, there's 4 years that you've got to keep the car. You could put that in the stock market, put that in the bond market, put it in the savings account, and draw on it if you needed it for repair. But BMW is basically a good car, and you take care of that car, and you spend a lot of money taking care of it. I don't think you should add an expense of an extended warranty, even though it's a BMW. It's safe, but I have my own warranty company in my dealership, and I have for many years. And it's one of the most profitable things I have. The tax code favors insurance companies, and in Florida and probably a lot of other states, the warranty companies are actually insurance companies. So they get favorite tax treatment, and the money that's made is quite good. So insurance companies make more money than just about any other company, and a lot of them sell extended warranties. So I say pass. Put the money away.
Really?
Sounds to me like you can afford to do a repair if you have to. You'd be paying that $4,000 for peace of mind. Is your peace of mind worth that amount of money? Mine's not. I'd rather save the money.
I appreciate your answer. I just want to correct one thing. It's you said $1,100 a month. It's $1,100 a year.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, certainly
Okay,
not
I
11.
figured.
Yeah,
I
right.
figured. So I'm looking at approximately $3,400 over up and above when the manufacturer's warranty expires in about 6 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what they said to me. If the water pump had to be replaced, I could easily spend $1,000 or $1,500 between the part and the labor.
Sure.
Does that sound true?
Well, yeah, you can always shop and compare prices, but the point is they're trying to scare you into buying the warranty. It's extremely
Definitely.
profitable. The person that's selling you the warranty gets a big commission. Rick has a point.
Bob, what year is your BMW?
2021.
Okay, and what is the factory warranty on the powertrain?
4 years.
Only 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
Wow.
48
Boy,
months.
Well, all right. So you've still got at least 1 year of factory warranty.
About 9 months.
Yeah.
Right.
I myself, I would find it highly unlikely that you would have any sort of a failure on a car that you don't drive near as much. You
Right.
From what you're saying, you drive about half as much as most people do. I don't think you're going to see
10,000
failures on
miles.
that car.
Pardon me?
Put the $3,300 in the stock market. In 3 years, it'll probably be worth $4,300. So, and if it's not, then you can draw upon that. But I would not give them $3,300.
I tend to agree. I tend to agree with you, and I'll probably take your advice. One thing I do want to say, when you mentioned scare tactics, when I walked into the office where this person, you sit down with this person, they tell you about the warranty. They have a sign on the wall that was done on a printer, and it says hourly labor rate for BMW at that dealership, $340 something or $360 something per hour. So to me, when I saw that, I knew right away that that was a little bit of a scare tactic.
It is, yeah, it is. And I could tell from personal experience. One reason that this show is pretty accurate is because I am a car dealer. I admit it, and I do a lot of the things that the car dealers out there are doing. I know how much money I make, and I know there's no more money made anywhere than on extended warranty. So the insurance companies are winning, and you're losing. Hey, we got a bunch of calls backed up, Bob, so we're going to have to move along.
Thank you for your advice.
Yeah,
I
Thanks,
want to
Wally.
take it.
Give us a call next week and let us know what you decided.
Thank you for calling, Wally. We're going to go to Bob in Lake Park. Thanks for calling back, Bob.
Oh, how's this? Am I better? Coming in
Yes,
better?
so far.
Oh, okay. Well, I have one thing to say. You can't if you shouldn't buy a BMW unless you can afford to fix it. They're expensive cars and expensive to fix. So you should know that before you go in and you buy one of those things. But I'd like to get back to what I was saying before about the rest of the story. So you shopped the dealership last week, the local Ford dealership, and you gave them good marks and all. And
Mullinax.
yes, they're pretty above board on their sales. The problem is the rest of the story is how are you going to get the car serviced? Because their service department over there is a disaster.
Oh.
They've lost all their mechanics that worked there for years. They're all gone. I had a friend of mine bring his F-150 over there, 2016. He had extended warranty from Ford with a $100 deductible. The truck was running at a low RPM at idle, about 475. It should be running at 650. He brought it over there four times. Once they had it for 6 weeks. And they replaced the throttle body and everything. They could never get the thing to run properly. And they told him, don't bring it here anymore. We can't fix it.
Well, Bob, it's one of the reasons that I always advise people, unless it's warranty work, shop the independent mechanics. Shop the independent.
This was a warranty. He had a warranty with
Well,
Ford.
You talk about a manufacturer's warranty or an extended warranty?
Extended warranty from Ford Motor Company
Okay.
with a $100 deductible.
Then I would go to another Ford dealer.
Well, he did. Eventually, he went to Alpaca, and he brought it there once, and they fixed it.
Well, that's competition is our friend, and if you have a problem with a dealer and you feel like you need a dealer, and there are a lot of good things about dealer service departments. They have their mechanics are trained specifically in that vehicle. They have the extremely expensive diagnostic equipment. They also have direct access to the manufacturer's engineers and people that are really at the top of the skill level in fixing cars. So there's a lot of good things to be said about dealer service departments. The worst thing I say about a dealer service department is the huge cost compared to what an independent would be. So if you have to go back to a Ford dealer, your friend did exactly the right thing. Went to a different Ford dealer and found satisfaction. So
I get it, but if you buy a vehicle from a local dealer, why should you have to travel 50 miles or 40 miles to bring the car to be serviced somewhere else?
Well, if you're in South Florida, you only have to go about 5 blocks because there's so many dealers down here. I think there's 4 Ford dealers in Palm Beach County. At last count, there might be 5 by now, but usually if you're in a metro area, there's probably 1 or 2 or 3 other dealers within a half an hour drive. And when you're talking about spending thousands of dollars, that half an hour may be a cheap drive to make.
Well, I had an issue over there too. I went over there for an oil change, and they're supposed to put 6 quarts of oil in my car. They only put 5. And
Well,
then
that's good to know. We spoke very highly of Molnex in the sales department, and we probably should do more mystery shops in service departments because I think we give a false sense of security when we give a high score on the sales department, and then they found out the service department is going to give you a hard time or overcharge you. So I appreciate you making that point about Molnex.
Yeah, well, not only that, but they do a checklist, like they check all these other things.
Yeah.
And my car, notoriously, the negative battery terminal always gets corroded.
Well, that's a good thing and a bad thing because honestly, it's a good thing to be able to have a checklist, but it turns into a menu for them to try to sell you more stuff that you don't need.
Well, the problem is he never checked the battery cable. Because when I got the car home, it not only was short on oil, but the battery cable was corroded. So when I went back there, and the service advisor said to me that in order for them to clean the battery cable, they would have to charge me.
Yeah.
So I just did it myself. I mean, I know how to do that.
Yeah, well, you take it up the line, Bob, when you have a problem like that, and try to get up to the general manager level.
Well, I took it to the service manager.
Yeah.
And his name is Elazar. Is his first name, and he was very put off on trying to help me. I mean, I eventually got it taken care of, but it was a contested issue, trying to get the service done properly. And I'm just saying, they lost all their good mechanics. The people that used to work there are gone.
Yeah, that happens, Bob. You sound like an educated consumer, Bob, and unfortunately, I have about 5 calls backed up.
Well, have a nice weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend. $50, ladies, for the first 2 new lady callers. Give us a call, and you can win yourself $50. We have a great mystery shopping report coming up from Rick Case in Fort Lauderdale, so stay tuned for that. We're going to go to Jersey Mike, who's a regular caller. Good morning, Jersey.
Good morning, folks. You're doing a great show again, as usual. I got to compliment you.
Thank you.
Let me say this about Big Dog Ranch, first of all, then I'll get to cars. That's one of the greatest organizations I've ever found. I'm a veteran. I adopted a dog there, and a lot of people that may want to be going out there and finding a dog, and there's a lot out there, can receive a 50% discount on any dog that they purchase there if they're a veteran. And they are so large, they actually have a center as one of the buildings that's solely for veterans. You can go there, and because of that, you'll get treated anywhere there correctly. But if you go there, if you're a veteran and you find a veteran building, you will get a little extra exceptional courtesy service, such as a dog vest, which can be used very heavily, that you might end up spending $80, $90 or whatever in the dog store. a pet shop. So
Thank you, Mike.
I
We really
suggest they go out there and take a good look at what's going on. And by the way, they are a no-kill, whereas other places, I don't want to name who they are, but the biggest one right here in West Palm Beach, everybody knows who it is. That is they do euthanize their animals. So I would strongly support Big Dog Ranch. A little bit of a drive out of town, but it's a very nice country ride, and you'll be enjoying it if you're interested in finding a great dog out there.
well, we have a dog of the week coming up later in the show, so
Well,
stay tuned.
not true.
And when you get that dog, it's fully serviced. It's chipped. It's got a chip in it, so you can find it if it ever gets lost. It's been groomed. It's been checked by the veterinarian. It's not just a dog that's pawned off on you. They take care of what they're doing out there. They know what they're doing. And if you have a problem in the future with your dog, you take it back there, and you can get a diagnosis for free with a veterinarian. Go to a veterinarian someplace else, it's going to cost you $300-$400 to find out what might be wrong with your dog.
Well, thank you, Mike. We're going to talk about the dog in a little while, too, so I appreciate the comments.
Cars. I have a friend who bought a BMW 2018. He purchased it. He's paying $850 per month on it. He's put $6,800 and change into this car in repairs from the same place from which he bought it here in West Palm Beach. Of course, I advised him initially, don't buy any cars anywhere in South Florida. Head up north. Go up to Sebastian. Go up to Jacksonville or whatever. I've been advised that one of the worst things you can do is buy a car here in South Florida. Now, I don't want to take away a lot of business from dealerships here, but, what is true is true. And so he didn't listen to me. Therefore, he ended up ending out this, that, everything else. And by the way, he never even got a Carfax on that car when he bought it because he didn't know to ask for it, which I advise all your people to do. And before they even buy that car, take it to an independent, reliable service center someplace and have it checked when you take it for your test drive.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah.
And
No,
you
it's,
go to $99. They'll give you a 7-page report on the car.
You buy a luxury
$99.
car and you expect to get hosed when you go into the service department, whether it's a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or BMW, Land Rover. If you're going to buy an expensive imported car, they're going to get you. And I don't. The way I look at it is, if you can afford to spend that kind of money on a car, you better be prepared to be able to spend the money to get it repaired because it's going to cost you. And actually, they build pretty good cars. BMW's a good car. There are a lot of good, well-built luxury cars. BMW is one of the better ones. I wouldn't buy a Land Rover on a bet because they're terrible cars mechanically, but. It's if you buy something like an Acura, you go to a Honda dealer. You buy a Cadillac dealer, take it to a Chevrolet dealer to get fixed. If you buy a Lexus, take it to a Toyota dealer to get fixed because the Toyota dealer or the Honda dealer will charge you a lot less than the Acura or Lexus dealer will charge you. But it's just marketing. People know.
You got that right.
Yeah.
Hey, one last thing about that BMW.
Yeah.
I showed him that if he went to Rock Auto, he could have bought a steel water pump for $375, of which the dealership that he bought it from charged him $850 for a plastic water pump, and then they charged him another $400 to install it. I said, we could have done that in my driveway here. I got the tools in my motorhead, in 20 minutes or half an hour. I mean, it's no big deal. You take the Permatex seal after you take the thing off, and bingo, bango, it's done. And so, his problem was, he didn't get the car diagnosed from the beginning. I advise all of your listeners, get that car checked out thoroughly to your satisfaction. Make sure you ask the right questions before you oblige yourself to have to buy it. And if it's a finance car, I think you've got 3 days to decide that you don't want the contract, and that's the state law, I believe.
Jersey Mike, thank you so much for informing our listeners. You've done a great job this morning.
And you guys keep up the good work, because I think you're great. You're one of the best shows on the radio. And I listen to radio almost 24 hours a day. I'm not sleeping.
We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Have a great weekend. Ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. $50. How was your service when you took your vehicle in? You know that there are more ladies who come through the service department than ever before. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. We're going to go to Mark. We have all of our regular callers calling in this morning, all the guys. Mark, good morning. Mark's calling us from Palm Beach Gardens.
Good morning, Nancy, Earl, Stu, and Rick.
Hello.
I haven't called in. I haven't
Don't
been
forget
at
Jonathan.
Sunrise. Oh, Jonathan, I'm sorry. Anyway, I haven't called in and haven't been to Sunrises for 2.5 months as being in the hospital for major surgery and so forth.
Oh, my.
So I haven't forgot about the Sunrises or the Earl Stewart on Cars.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I am. Just I lost 58 pounds. So
Oh, goodness.
anyway, hey, Rick, quick question. I got a 2015 Camry SE. Now, the front turn signal bulb is burnt out in the side of the bumper or front corner of the bumper. And I don't see any screws on the outside where you could take the lens off and put a bulb in. Question is, does the bumper have to come off to do that? Or a splash shield underneath there so you can get behind it?
It's the easiest way is a splash shield. Probably a half dozen screws and a couple plastic clips. And unless you have a lift, you're going to be laying on your back to do it. But you got to reach up under the bumper from inside once you get that splash shield down.
Okay. All right. Well, being a double amputee, I can't get on the ground, but I was wondering if one of my kids could do it. But anyway, all right. We'll see about bringing it in. And what would I be charged normally? A guesstimate. Is that always a minimum of 1 hour?
We normally would, that one probably, we would do it as the 1 hour diagnostic that we do. So it'd be $99, $100. And then the cost of the bulb would probably be about $12 to $15.
Okay, cool. Well, I won't keep you. Thanks. Good listening to you guys again, and have a great weekend.
It was great hearing from you, Mark. God bless and take care. We're going to go to Marty, another regular caller from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic.
I have a question that probably Rick or Earl, I'm sure, and you might know. Doesn't apply in Florida, but they had a lot of news stories on with this bad weather up north and out west and everything, that EVs lose their charge in real cold weather, and it takes a lot longer to charge the car in cold weather. And they had people waiting 6 hours in line to get to a charger. So they interviewed one guy, and he said he's going back to gasoline.
Really?
I saw quite a few stories about that, yeah. And the pictures, now I'm sure they were playing it, sensationalizing it quite a bit. But even if you take that sensationalized story and you cut it by 50%, that's still kind of a rough thing. Like, if Earl right now were somewhere up in the middle of Colorado or, well, like where my friend is in Ohio, and that much snow and that cold a temperature, matter of fact, Mark Ryan on the YouTube channel here says it was minus 10 degrees at his house. I don't think your Tesla would be getting around too well in that, Earl. I think you'd have to have a full charge on it to get yourself down your driveway and back.
I think they should move to Florida. I think we hear all these complaints about the charging in cold weather, but I lived in Troy, New York for a year. I lived in Lafayette, Indiana for 2 years. I've been in Elmira. I've been in the frozen wastelands of the north, and I remember having huge problems with my car. I mean, I couldn't start my car. I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't park my car. I was afraid I was going to wreck my car. It isn't the car, folks. It's the weather. Come down to Florida. Forget it. Why do people live in sub-zero areas? I don't get it.
Well, I'm from Rochester, and I can tell you this: except for jobs, everybody should be living in Florida.
Oh, boy. So we have Marty and we have Earl, who are now working for the Chamber of Commerce. Come down to Florida.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. In somebody's garage, will the cold weather affect an EV? If it's working in your garage, I think these people were looking for outdoor chargers somewhere.
Yeah, outdoor cars, I think, yeah.
Right. And having your car in your garage, obviously it's out of the wind, so you're not getting the wind chill effect. But even then, that garage still can get pretty cold. So it's going to have an effect on it. It's going to shorten the range temporarily. But, you're just going to have to deal with it like folks do with normal gasoline cars up
My garage got down
north.
to 65 degrees last night, and my car charged just fine.
Yeah. Well, my stepsister up in New Hampshire probably had negative 12 in her garage, and I know when they have their Halloween or their holiday parties for Christmas time, they don't bother with the fridge or the freezer. They set their food in the garage because it keeps it ice cold. So I mean, but it's the same idea with gasoline cars. A lot of times you have to use block heaters that plug into the wall.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well,
there's just
joking,
things that you have to do
We're joking
to.
about this a lot, but the fact of the matter is that is an issue, and I know that the electric vehicle manufacturers are addressing it. And the answer is yes, there will be a solution.
Definitely.
Because Elon Musk wants to sell Teslas in Buffalo, New York, just like he does in Miami. So he's going to come up with a solution that where you will be able to charge a car in cold weather, and it's probably going to happen later rather than sooner. But there are a lot of glitches with electric cars. Just because it takes longer today to charge an electric car in sub-zero weather doesn't mean that we're going to be driving combustion engine cars forever. We're not. We're going to be driving electric vehicle cars. In about 25 years, you won't be able to buy a combustion engine car. You'll be buying, and 18 states have already made combustion engine cars illegal in 25 years. So it's going to come. That's not going to bother me because I'm 83 years old, but it's going to, my grandchildren will not be driving combustion engine cars. They will be driving EVs.
Yeah, for now, Marty,
Well, I know
combustion.
I know one thing they told the Bills people: they got to either they bring or they give you a shovel so you can get a seat in the Bills stadium for Sunday night. Because Buffalo had, like certain parts of Buffalo, had about 70 inches of snow this week.
Thank
So,
God. Thank
I don't
God for
care
all the
any car you
volunteers.
have. Yeah, I don't think any car is going to make it through there, whether it starts or it doesn't start.
Yeah. Marty, thanks for the call. Have yourself a
All right.
great weekend.
I hope your cough gets better.
Thanks.
Okay.
Me or Rick?
Both. Yeah.
Thank you.
You better stay away from Earl.
Stay away from
Rick?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for feeling sorry for me. I feel like I'm between two coughing machines.
Earl's a cyborg. He doesn't get sick.
Yeah, you want Rick to stay away from Earl? I'm being facetious. Hey, Marty, again, thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, we're going to go to John in Palm City, who's been holding. Good morning, John.
Good morning. I have a question for Rick. It's about my mechanic, not on my car, but just replaced the front end struts on a car, and it was very low mileage. And here's the reason why he told me. He said that the owner of that car is like a hot rodder. When he sees the speed bumps, he doesn't slow down. It's quite rough on the car, and he said that's the reason why the shock absorbers, which basically what a struts is, went so soon. I think the car only had like about 60-some-odd thousand miles on it. So what your owner's manual doesn't have a time period to replace struts. What's Rick's? How do they check a struts when a car is brought in? And after they put the struts in, does the car have to be realigned?
I'll take that last one first. After you replace any front end steering or suspension component, the alignment should be checked and adjusted if necessary. And for testing struts, it's a time-honored way, a simple bounce test. We basically you walk up to the car, you put your knee on the bumper, and you start bouncing it up and down. And once you get a good rhythm with that car really bouncing up and down, you step back, and it should move maybe 1 to 1.5, maybe 2 more bounces, and then it should settle right out and be smooth and stop. If it keeps bouncing more than 2 or 3 times, it means that strut on that corner, the shock absorber, is worn out.
Well, these speed bumps that they have on many roads and parking lots, and if you don't slow down to like 2 miles an hour, would that be very extra rough on it?
Yes, it can be. If you're driving on hard, heavy roads, and that shock absorber is having to basically beat itself to death, that can cause damage to the inside seals and the fluid. Because basically all it really is it's a tube full of fluid, another rod moving in the center with a big baffle. And as it moves down through the fluid has to squeeze past that baffle. And when it goes back up through, it has to squeeze past the other way. So the fluid is supposed to slow down that up and down movement, make it, create resistance and slow it down. If that baffle inside starts to break down by being shoved too hard up and down against that fluid, over time, that has a big effect on it. And suddenly with that baffle not moving that fluid properly, that rod just slides up and down very easily, and your shock absorber doesn't absorb the shocks.
Well, the point is, way they put these speed bumps in, it's ridiculous in some areas, but everybody should just slow down as much as they can, and it's hard on a car if you don't.
Oh, absolutely. And some roads that just have massive potholes, and the repairs on them, they get humped up high in the air. So, you're still in the same situation. That shock absorber is being beaten up and down really excessively and at higher speeds. That causes damage to the baffles.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard there's a federal law on an interstate or an exit of it, they'll never put a speed bump. And the reason is that a person does go too fast over it, they can lose total control of the car.
Absolutely, yes. You'll
right,
never
well,
see speed bumps on any road that might have higher speeds possible.
Well, it's sad. In some associations and private streets, they have it so high, it's ridiculous.
Well, and the other effect of that is that also affects emergency vehicles, such as the police and the fire department. When you're on a residential road, that fire truck should be able to do 30 miles an hour to get to your house that's burning, and instead they have to slow down to 2 miles an hour every 100 feet.
That's a great point. I never thought about that.
I mean, to me, I got to tell you, if I'm 55 years old, I'm a big guy, and suppose I was to have a heart attack, I would rather have a nice smooth road going to my house rather than one has speed bumps every couple of miles, and know that fire rescue, the guy that's coming to save my life,
so those great big
has
trucks,
got to slow down every couple of feet.
A great big fire truck, would they be affected the same as a car going over a speed bump?
More so because of their weight and their size.
Yeah, wow.
They have to really slow down.
Well, thank you, Rick, for that information. It's interesting.
Thank you,
You're
John.
very welcome.
Thank you again.
Thanks for calling, and stay tuned for that mystery shopping report that we did at Rick Case in Fort Lauderdale. Ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. And when you went out looking for a car or you got on the internet, did you look at the cost of the maintenance on a vehicle you were interested in? It's real important what it will cost you to keep that car on the road. So good luck in purchasing a vehicle, whether it be new or used, and give us a call for the first 2 new lady callers. 877-960-9960. And I didn't mention earlier, and it's real important, youranonymousfeedback.com. youranonymousfeedback.com. And it's been a long time since we've mentioned Earl's Vigilantes. And if you're all wondering out there, it still exists. And you can join by going to Earl on Cars and checking out that website. And it's a win-win situation. You can not only help others, but you can help somebody even in your neighborhood. So go to Earl on Cars and check out Earl's Vigilantes. We're going to go to Ron, who's holding, and he's calling us from West Palm Beach.
Right.
Good morning, Ron.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, I am actually Jersey Mike's friend with the BMW.
Ah.
Yeah, I heard him. The question I have is, it's a 2018 BMW. I love the way the 2018 looks, and it had 52,000 on it when I got it. Now it's got about 58,000 on it. The first thing that happened was the water was leaking some coolant, and I had it diagnosed. That was $180 just to tell me that the water pump needed to be replaced. So the place that I took it, I'm gonna get all my ducks in a row. I'll call you back next Saturday with everything because they still have the vehicle now. That was in October, and I finally got it back in a few days right before Halloween, and it was still leaking, and I took it right back again, and it was a O-ring that's got an elbow that goes to the top of the head towards the firewall. And it was O-ring. Now, first of all, the payment was $1,485 for the water pump. Now it was another $2,100 for a O-ring that pushes into an elbow, like a fiberglass kind of elbow. And so the O-ring cost me $2,000 after that. And I drove it probably about 4 miles, and now the computer... They had it since then, and the computer went crazy, and they had it since the beginning of November, like November 1st, 2nd. And now my question is, how many times do they have to try to fix this computer part? Because they already dropped the ball on the water pump once, and it wasn't the water pump. It was actually that O-ring. And how many times does a repair garage that is BMW certified? And I'm not going to, next week, I'm going to see what they do by Monday with this computer stuff. Then next week I'll let you know. Okay, so they put a CES module in it. Okay? They told me that's what it was. That had something to do with the security. That in it. So the integrated supply module, they put that in. It still is not fixed. And now I'm way up over the $2,000 mark again already.
Have you taken it up the line? Have you talked to the service manager or general manager of the dealership?
Yes, I did. I talked to them, and they said they're almost there. They are almost able to figure out. They're testing the wiring against the wiring diagram, and they said it was possible that there is water inside the vehicle.
Have you contacted the manufacturer?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, sometimes that gets the attention of the dealers. They operate with a franchise agreement. They have a contract with BMW, and they have technical representatives. If you go to BMW and you say, I'm having this issue, there would be a conversation between the BMW technician and the dealership technicians and the service manager. I think it doesn't cost you anything to make that phone call, and you certainly have every right to be concerned. Normally, I would say take it to another dealer, but you're in so deep with this one dealer, and
yes, I am.
They have the history of what they've done wrong, unfortunately, and so you're almost stuck. But try to call it to the attention as high up the ladder as you can. Is this a Brayman dealership or a?
No, it was. They're actually on my side. They said if I could get it there, they're going to give me another one. It was a car lot that's very well known. They sell high end cars. It's down on. It's actually. They're treating me well with it. car factory down in Lake Worth on Military Trail.
Oh, it's a used car. Yeah. No, I would if I were in this deep, I'd take it to another mechanic. There are a lot of really good, qualified foreign car mechanics, especially German cars, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and a lot of these guys are really good. Their price is much less than it sounds to me like what you've been paying. But try to go up the ladder to the guy that runs the dealership or the place you bought the car, and then maybe go to the menu. If this isn't this is not a BMW franchise dealer, you're saying?
I'm being totally honest. I don't know that. I don't know.
Well, there's only two BMW dealers in this area that I know of, Bremen and Vista Motors.
No, it's not then.
Okay, so it's not a franchise dealer, so you are with an independent repair facility now. I try to find out who owned the place and say, hey, help me here. Your technicians are not able to help me, and I need to have something done. But I feel sorry for you because you can't leave now because you already paid them too much money, and whoever you saw next is going to have to start all over again. So you're stuck with where you are. Insist on seeing the guy that owns the place.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, and call us back and let us know what happens, will you?
I will. I'll call you next week and let you know what happens.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you.
Thanks for being part of the show. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymousfeedback.com. Earl's going to get to that in a couple of minutes. We're going to stay on the phones, and we're going to talk to Lance, who's a regular caller from Tennessee. Morning, Lance.
Good morning, Earl Stewart on Cars.
Hey, you got a song for me?
Are you kidding? I've got an album for you. Earl, we've got snow on the ground here.
Oh my God, it's snow in Tennessee. How much snow you got?
We had about 9 inches of snow in this little town.
Wow.
Could you say on the grass?
And I'll tell you something that we're trying to find out up here. I'll tell you, don't eat yellow snow.
No, that's not a good thing.
I've heard that.
We never did that in Pittsburgh.
Well, Earl, I've got a little quick tune for you.
Let's hear it.
And I just want you to know we appreciate you and Nancy and Rick and Stu and you're just very charming, delightful people.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, if your car is broken, you are too. Listen to Earl Stewart on Cars. He'll tell you what to do. Stay away from dealer fees if you can. He'll tell you where to go. He'll help you with the show. And just remember, Earl Stewart on Cars on Saturday mornings.
Well, I tell you what, you need to go on the road with that. I think you should be playing in nightclubs. I'd love to see you in person with a band behind you.
Well, Earl, we're on the road with it, but we're just trying to stay on paved roads.
Well, thanks so much for bringing happiness and cheer to our show every week. We would miss you if you didn't call. So thanks again for calling, Lance.
Have a great day.
You too, my friend.
Thank you. We're going to go to Frank from Jupiter Farms.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
It's always hard to follow some of your guests that are in front of me. It's like a hard act to follow.
Yeah, that's very true.
Luckily, I got jokes and not singing. Couple of things for you guys. The first one I'll do for Rick. We have a Audi that's coming up on its 2-year point for an oil change. And when I spoke to them about making an appointment, they're saying, oh, the 2-year check, they're going to pull the spark plugs. They're going to check the air filters, the cabin filter, the engine filter, inspect the brakes. I mean, on and on. And after last week, when you're talking how the engines pretty well tune themselves, as you drive, it would really be worthwhile pulling spark plugs at only 15,000 miles to look at them and break into the seal, factory seal, or what does Rick think about that?
Pulling spark plugs at 15,000 miles, we haven't done that since the early 90s. If they're iridium spark plugs, which they probably are on an Audi, they should be at 150,000 miles, not 15. That's now inspecting the rest of the car. Obviously, you look at the filters, you look at the brakes. That's getting under there, shining a light all around, looking for anything that sometimes things happen. Even on the best of cars, sometimes things break.
Well, that sounds like this outfit doesn't know what they're doing. I'd get out of there.
That sounds like they're trying to feed you a whole line of making their service sound way better so they can charge you a little extra.
That's almost fraudulent to recommend 15,000 miles changing spark plugs. That sounds like either they're stupid or they're fraud or they're dishonest.
Yeah, and I myself as a mechanic, if the car's not running bad, if the car's running normal and smooth, I'm not going to pull out spark plugs to look at them. I'm going to pull them out to replace them, and then at the appropriate mileage. I see no, and unless the BM or the Audi owner's manual, their service manual recommends doing this, which I couldn't see why they would do that, I wouldn't do it. That just sounds like asking for trouble.
Thank you. That was exactly the red flag I felt when they told me that, and I said, "Well, this is perfect. I don't take it in for 2 weeks. I get to talk to you guys and reaffirm that my initial thoughts were verified or rectified."
Yeah, and if you want to have a little fun with them, if the motor is accessible enough, if you can get to where you can see the electrical connector that goes on to where the spark plug boot is. The coil pack, usually it's a coil over the top of the spark plug. Get a little bit of like nail polish or model paint and just put a little dot that if they unplug it, it's going to disturb that and break it. And so you can go back and look and see, did they actually do that? I mean, because if they say they're doing it, okay, if they do it. But if you put that little dot of paint on there and then you go back and you look, and they didn't do it, I wouldn't even bother walking back in their office. I would simply walk away, and I would tell the entire world on the internet with photos, hey, they said they did, they didn't. I'm not going back there.
I like that. That's a very great suggestion. Okay. Well, the other thing, too, I really want to say thank you for your strut test and explanation earlier in the show. They say you can learn something new every day. Well, it's now been proved twice today.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean,
I sent you guys a picture of a Florida license plate that didn't have a month and date expiration. It just had 2 letters.
Oh yeah,
and that was me.
That's
so that's a rental car. Again, I learned something new today.
Yep, I saw that recently myself a while back. A car that the license plate, instead of having the month and year, it said PM. And I thought, now what is this? And it turns out Florida now they give those license plates to the rental car companies and as their permanent registration, so they don't have to re-register the tag, which it kind of blew my mind a little, because I remember back in the 70s when 70s and 80s, they were upset about how all rental car tags were always the same month and year, for the same month for the re-registration. And if you went to tourist places, you could recognize the rental cars, and criminals would target them to break into them because they knew it was a rental and usually had good things in it to steal. So now you just made the tag blatantly say this is a rental car.
They were like always done in June. It seemed they were always month number 6.
Right. Yeah.
In Florida. Well, very good. You got a few more minutes, or you got a bunch of people on the line?
No, I don't think we have a few more minutes, do we?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Frank.
Okay. This would be like a little test for Rick, but also for your viewers. I was on I'm going through a knee operation, rehab So as you sit on the bike and you pedal for 10 minutes, all these numbers appear on the screen. And I was thinking about the symbology of like 225. What motor did that stand for? And a 283 and a 327, a 340 and a 348, 383, 389, et cetera, et cetera. But it was an interesting way to remember the motors that were in different cars I had. The 225, do you remember which motor that was?
I want to say the Ford Mustang 65.
I think that was a 289.
What's that?
But
What's that, Jonathan?
Chrysler Plymouth 6-cylinder.
Chrysler six-cylinder? That's coming from Jonathan.
Yep, that's good. My mom, that was her first new car she bought in '65, and Nancy will love this. It was a Plymouth Barracuda.
Oh.
Hey!
It had the 225, but three-speed on stick on the side of the steering wheel, and
Yay.
it was a neat car. It was really a nice car.
Oh.
And we were in North Carolina up in Maggie Valley one summer, and the car got bumped. She gets out and says to the person, "You hit my car." "No, ma'am, you were sliding backwards on a hill," because she didn't know about how to release the brake and clutch so quick on hills. So it's a learning experience. But anyway, and then I had a 340, another Barracuda, and a 380. And anyway, so with that, one last thing.
Great stories.
They're talking about Buffalo, New York, and the snow.
Yes.
Here's my quick Buffalo story. 1977, I was working for Eastern Airlines, and I was looking to get a little better job. I just got out of college. And I was waiting to go in the Air Force. So a better paying job opened up in Buffalo to work the ramp, and that was the winter of '77. The car I had was a Ford Pinto with no heater. That's the year they would have found me dead on the road in the snow melt that summer. But I didn't go. But it makes me think of Buffalo a lot for that.
Oh boy.
With that, let me let you guys get back to the other folks. And as always, it's a pleasure to hear your show each week, to learn something sometimes, and be reaffirmed on other things that were in my memory banks from the days of time lights and feeler gauge and bubble.
That makes us happy, Frank.
Yeah, the old school
Thanks
stuff.
for being part of the show.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to go to Lori, and Lori's calling us from Palm Beach Gardens, and she has given us a call before. Good morning, Lori.
Well, good morning. I am asking for my daughter-in-law about her car. The front bumper looks like saran wrap that's all wrinkled.
Oh, boy.
And melted.
That's not good. How long has it been that way?
She had gotten the car not too long ago, and then it started.
Oh.
And they told her it could be from the sun, but she's parking in normal spaces that other people park.
Yeah, that sounds like paint delamination. Like the clear coat on the bumper is delaminated. It's literally it's not sticking to the color coat underneath anymore, and it's peeling up, and that's why you'll see that that kind of looks like plastic wrap on it, because it's the clear paint didn't stick properly. Unfortunately, that is a condition that a lot of cars have got. My own pickup, I've got that on several areas on it, and it looks horrible because that clear coat just peels away and it flakes off. And unfortunately, the only way to fix it is you've got to go to a body shop. They're going to have to sand it down and reshoot that clear, repaint the clear coat on it.
Is that something that should be covered under warranty? Because her car is still under warranty.
If it's still under a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, I would go immediately to the dealer and say, hey, this needs to be fixed.
And Lori, this problem's been is existed for quite a long time, and there's a good point that you just mentioned about the warranty. You sound like an educated consumer, and there has been a lot of fixes with a warranty as far as that's concerned. So I would definitely entertain that idea.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
Lori.
it.
Spread the word.
Okay.
Tell all the other ladies to give us a call. 877-960-9960. And Earl's going to be getting to our anonymous feedback soon, and Rick's going to take care of some texts and some YouTubes that are coming in. We're going to talk to John in Stewart. Good morning, John.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay, so I got a good buddy that he buys these Lexus RX 350s for his wife, and so the last one that he had is a 2016, and so the navigation screen went off. So he took it up, and it's going to cost $4,000. So he takes and he goes to the Lexus dealership here in Palm Beach, and he buys an off-lease car for his wife, a 2021 RX 350. And so he said that he would sell me his car, and he'd get the screen fixed for $4,000. He would take and do all the service on it, have it all the service done. And he'd sell it to me for $1,250. So that's a pretty good price, I think. But would Rick or Earl or somebody would you buy that? Would you buy? Are those pretty dependable cars? Is a 2016 RX 350.
Well, it's like we advise anybody when you're buying a used car, have an independent mechanic check it out. Even if the seller doesn't know there's a problem with it, you might have a problem, and it would be doing yourself a favor just to spend a couple $100, take it to a mechanic you trust, certified, ASE certified, and say, I want to buy the car, give it a once-over, and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed or adjusted. A lot of times the sales continues and goes through, but the sellers say, hey, I'll take care of that. If you're going to buy the car, I'll fix that for you. So $200 is the best $200 you'll ever spend before you buy a used car.
And from the fanboy side of it,
Yes,
a 2016 RX 350, I would definitely want it looked over real close, but those are pretty cars. I love that Lexus.
It's a beautiful car. Yeah, I'm going to buy it for my wife if we get it. But I just wonder if there's any history. I try to look up to see if there's anything that is problematic with that year. But they had a bunch of little things, but nothing big.
Well, a couple things you can do.
Yes,
you
sir.
can get the VIN number and run that through safercar.gov, the website on the internet. And that will check for any open recalls on the car. So you can look and see if there's any safety recalls that need to be done. And if you have that VIN number, if you go to a Lexus dealer, they will quite likely be happy to look up the history on the car. And it's a national history. It'll tell you anytime that's been at a Lexus dealership, and they can tell you if there's been any serious issues that have been checked over on that car.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a good deal then. Because I buy usually Toyotas, but Lexus is because he would always take and have all the oil changes and the work done at Toyota dealers because he said that they work on Lexuses because they're a Toyota product. And it's a lot cheaper that way.
Oh, yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But the
right,
Lexus
guys.
just has the
Where's your friend
fit
buying?
and finish above.
Where's your friend buying his new Lexus from?
The Palm Beach of Lexus of Palm Beach over there on Okeechobee, because they had a bunch of cars returned in their leases.
Tell them to call JM Lexus and Coconut Creek. It's a bit of a drive, but even if you don't drive down there, they'll give you a price on the phone. And they are the largest Lexus dealership in the world. They're honest, transparent, and they'll give you a really good price. If your friend doesn't want to buy it from JM Lexus, he can just take JM Lexus' price to Palm Beach Lexus, and they'll probably match it. Or if they won't, then you drive 45 minutes, and you'll get a better deal.
Oh, okay. So it's JM Lexus and
Coconut Creek.
You said? Okay,
Coconut
gotcha,
Creek,
buddy.
Fort Lauderdale area.
Yep.
Fort Lauderdale. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your show. Have a
Thank
good
you,
weekend.
John. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to Karen, who's a first-time caller, and she's calling us from Pompano Beach. Good morning, Karen, and welcome.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. Hope you're well.
You just won yourself $50, Karen, by being
thank
the
you.
first-time caller.
Well, thank you.
You're
I'm very
welcome.
excited about that.
Karen, stay on the line, and you can speak to Jeremy in our control room. Give him your contact information. He'll pass it
Sure.
along to me, and I'll get that check out to you.
I appreciate that. And can I talk to you about my car after that?
No, you can talk about your car right now.
Great. I have a 2008 Lincoln Town car. It has 90,800 miles on it. I bought it secondhand when it had 50,000 miles, and the last year has been really disaster. I had leaks in the front under the mats. One time it was so bad the passenger side leaked over an inch of water in the back seat. I had it fixed, and it still has water coming in. My windows broke open. They fixed that, but they're not right yet. I went back twice. I also had door locks that would not open or close. I was locked in and out of the car. That was replaced. And the gentleman who replaced them said they could not guarantee it because of the age of the car. And I'm just concerned in the situation. I love the car. I don't think it has a lot of miles on it, and like to keep it up.
You know, you've got one of the most, well, it's a very old car, you're right, but the mileage isn't bad. And the old Lincoln Town cars had that trunk space, and it was a kind of a favorite car of a lot of people, older people like me and you maybe, that love that. So if you ever decide to sell the car, you can shop it around and get prices. You could probably sell that car for a surprisingly lot of money. But if you've got some serious problems with the car now, it just doesn't make any sense to be throwing good money after bad. You've named a number of things, but I'd check and see what I could sell the car for, and maybe find something else.
Okay, well, it's not an option for me because I'm a above-knee amputee, and on the roof of the car I have an automatic
I see.
thing that takes my wheelchair in and out.
I
The
understand.
most concerning problem I have right now is power steering. That went, and the gentleman fixed it, and it's still not. It's very hard for me to turn the wheel. I'm having trouble with my arm because of it. And I just don't know if I have recourse to go back to these people. Because they can't fix it the first time. I'm wondering what they're going to do the second time.
That's always a large concern. Most shops, independent shops and dealerships alike, they want to earn your business the proper way. And sometimes, I mean, we're only human. The mechanics, we're human beings. We do make mistakes, but we do try to fix it when we do. We want to try to do right by you. The best thing you could do is call back to that shop, ask to speak with the owner, and explain your situation. Polite persistence is a term I love to use. You be nice, be polite, but say, hey, I really need some help here. I paid for this repair. It's not right. What can you do to help me? And in a nice, friendly manner. And in most cases, they're going to want to do right by you, because the person that they make happy is going to tell 10 people how great they are. The person that they make angry is going to tell 50 people how upset they were. So, they're going to want to try to make right by you. I would talk to
advice.
them.
Rick, that's excellent advice, and speaking to the owner is in a polite manner and explaining your situation. Give that a try, and then call us back next week. I think that'll work for you.
And Karen, I don't blame you for wanting to keep that car in spite of everything that you've had to go through. Boy, what a gem of a car. And like I said, I don't blame you for wanting to hang on to it. Is that a dealership in Pompano Beach?
No, this was in Coconut Creek Margate area.
Okay, Coconut
My
Creek.
purchase.
And you've been dealing with them for how long?
Well, I haven't dealt with the deal. I've been going to service stations, which I think is my mistake. The last situation I had, they turned off the air suspension. So I have electrical problems with the car because I think of that. And I'm just wondering if I went to the dealer and he checked it out. Would they be able to give me an estimate on all repairs before I make a decision to do it?
You know,
to the Lincoln dealer?
Yeah.
No,
Yes,
it's
I
going
would
to cost you more money.
I would go in and I would ask them, tell them you've had some issues. You want them to do an inspection on the car, and tell them like they would do for, say, a used car that they were going to put on their lot. They should charge you about 1 hour, about $150. Make sure you get that in writing first of how much they're going to charge you, and then authorize just that amount. And they should come back and give you the list of everything they see and be able to break it down for you and tell you what items are important and should be done soon, what items are more minor and can be left go for a long time, and what items are
well, it's just power steering is a problem.
Information to you, but wouldn't need to be addressed.
And Karen, I think that's a great idea. I mean, $100 or $150 would be an investment in this Lincoln Town Car that you really want to hang on to, and you want it to be on the road.
That's right.
Yeah.
I appreciate this information about the inspection, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea, just putting things in perspective.
Well, thank you so much. What a great program. I'm learning a lot.
Oh, Karen, thanks so much, and spread the word. Help me build the platform here at Earl on Cars.
Stay on the line.
And, give Jeremy your information so I can get that check out to you.
I sure will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend. God bless. Okay, I think that we are at the hour or half hour that we need to address your anonymous feedback and also YouTube.
How about YouTube?
And we have some
Rick, you got
texts.
some YouTubes here?
Well, we're a little quiet on YouTube, but let's see what we got for texts here. Well, we'll go straight with Anne Marie, but interestingly enough, Earl, you started right out with her, almost the same thing as what she sent with her text here. Basically, she's, good morning. Last week, you said you would donate money to Florida senators or congresspersons' favorite charity if they would state their position on the FTC rules for cars, the FTC Cars program. She wanted to know, did we get any responses from anybody?
No, I'm very disappointed, and I won't say surprised, but of course disappointed. There's some breaking news on that too, is that the Federal Trade Commission, much to my disappointment, has had to put on hold the implementation of the Combat Auto Retail Scams, the CARS Act regulation that's supposed to go into effect on July 30th, because the National Automobile Dealers Association and the Texas Automobile Dealers Association launched a complaint with the court, and it's a delaying tactic. That's all it is.
Yep.
We knew this was going to happen. We knew NADA was coming on strong. They got the Texas Dealers Association to go along with them. And I found out about this. They kept it pretty quiet. The NADA did. I got a call from the Federal Trade Commission, and I've had several calls from the Federal Trade Commission. They asked for my statement to give to the court. I have the statement here, and I sent it back to the Federal Trade Commission. But basically, I'm stating as a dealer in this statement to the judge who is going to make the ruling of whether or not the Federal Trade Commission can proceed with the Combat Auto Retail Scams regulation. They're going to hear the arguments. And as a dealer, I'm saying I want the Federal Trade Commission CARS Act regulation to be implemented. And I also say that this is not only hurting consumers, what the car dealers are doing, it's hurting honest dealers like me. And it's awfully hard for any car dealer that wants to play it straight and transparent to advertise or quote prices when his competition down the street will lie to the customer to get them in and say, this is my price to get you in the door. And when you come in the door, they hit you with $2,000 worth of junk fees, dealer-installed accessories. They hit you with a addendum label. It makes a lot of honest dealers say, to hell with it. I'll fight fire with fire. So they start lying and cheating and stealing to combat the people that started it. So it's a vicious cycle. And I gave my statement, and I hope they found some other honest dealers out there that gave their statements, and the judge will decide, the federal judge will decide as to whether or not this regulation will continue to be implemented. But it's going to be a fight, folks. The entire way cars are sold in America is on the line. And if this thing doesn't get passed, it'll be business as usual. I can't imagine at 2024 us having a retailer that sells such an important product as the automobile to continue to lie, cheat, and steal. And that's what's going on right now. And the Federal Trade Commission is trying to stop it. So, Anne Marie, very perceptive of you. And I have the offer open. I started with the Florida U.S. representatives in Congress and the Senate. And I said to our senators, Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, I will donate $1,000 to your favorite charity if you will just go on the record with the Federal Trade Commission's Cars Act and say you support it or you don't support it. I'll give the $1,000 to your favorite charity even if you say I'm not going to support it. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm not trying to tell you what to think or do. I'm telling you, don't be sneaky about it. If you're going to be brazen enough to tell the Federal Trade Commission they can't keep dealers honest, I want the voters to know that you feel that way. So, Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, $1,000 to your favorite charity, and I'll double that if you'll let me give the money to the Big Dog Ranch Rescue. I'll give $2,000 to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, or you can have the $1,000 for your favorite charity. Just go on the record that you support or do not support the FTC Combat Auto Retail Scam regulation.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine 72 million hours each year that the consumer spends shopping for a vehicle? We got to get control of this bait and switch tactics, the hidden fees, everything. And Earl is leading the charge as usual.
This is my blog, Combating Auto Retail Scams. You can get that at earloncars.com. Demand your congressperson make known their support. Demand your congressperson make known their support for the CARS, Combat Auto Retail Scams regulation. I'm doing this for the Florida U.S. representatives and the Florida senators. Call the representatives and the senators in Congress, the U.S. Congress, and let them know how you feel. But if we don't fight this, the NADA and the other dealer association, like the Texas Auto Dealers Association and the Florida Auto Dealers Association, every state dealer association is fighting this. So we need to rally the troops. I just can't believe that the Federal Trade Commission would put this on hold. To me, they should have just left it official for July 30th, but it's reported that they put it on hold. And I'll be talking to the Federal Trade Commission people again, and we'll find out about that. But call, write, email, text your representatives in Congress and tell them you want them to go on the record. If you're going to support the FTC, let us know. If you're not going to support them, let it know. And then tell Earl Stewart, and he'll donate money to your charity.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, whenever Earl says that he's talking to the FTC, he's talking. He's on the phone. And
They've
he's
called
trying.
me many times, yeah.
Absolutely. And he is, like I said, leading the charge. And he's doing it for me, you, for all of us. So help us out, okay? Combating auto retail scams. That's Cars.
And Anne Marie found this story not only on Jalopnik, which is one of the really good automotive information sites. That's JALOPNIK, Jalopnik.com.
Yeah.
And she also found it on USA Today, that there was a story on it. Apparently, the court has agreed to hear the petition. The issue is whether the FTC even has the legal authority to enact the rule. The dealerships call the rules an abuse of discretion, whereas the FTC maintains the rules do not impose substantial costs, if any, on law-abiding dealerships. Notice those words, law-abiding dealerships, and the rules just guarantee a more even playing field for dealerships and consumers by eliminating junk fees and hidden costs.
That's excellent, Anne-Marie. Thank you very much.
She lays it right out.
Forward me that text, and so I can refer to that website. I haven't seen that, but yeah, that's. I'm glad you're on top of that, Anne-Marie. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Oh, and Johnny Z. Fradley mentioned for the fellow with the 2016 Lexus, where the screen had gone out for the GPS unit, he mentioned you might want to check in on aftermarket units. Such places as Best Buy, sometimes they can replace the aftermarket radios or replace the factory unit with an aftermarket radio that has the latest technology. So you'd be able to get like Apple CarPlay, Google CarPlay, all of that in your older car. I know I did that in my
short
pickup.
on time, Rick. We got to get to this mystery
so
shopping report.
on we go. But yeah, check into that before you spend a whole bunch of money replacing that screen.
Thank you.
For a quarter of that, you can get it fixed.
Absolutely. Great information for Rick. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a mystery shopping report that, well, stay tuned. I won't give it away. Rick Chase, Hyundai, Fort Lauderdale. You can share your grade with us at 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. So you can grade right there, and Rick will pick those texts up. That's Rick Case Hyundai in Fort Lauderdale.
Rick Case Hyundai, some of you know, regular listeners would know Rick Case passed away a year or two ago, and Rita Case, his wife, is running the very large group of dealerships, and he has some of one of the largest dealerships in the country, Honda dealerships. I say he, now it's she, Rita. They've been partners. They were partners throughout the years. I'll speak in the first person as if I were the mystery shopper, Agent Lightning, and I arrived mid-afternoon and started looking at a car that was open in front of the dealership. Before I could get in, a very energetic salesman hollered out to me, "If you sit in it, you have to buy it," he joked. It's pretty good. Very engaging, fun, friendly, good salesperson in terms of being smooth, I should say, probably a smooth salesperson. I laughed and replied, "Glad you caught me before I sat down." He extended his hand for a handshake. "My name's Donnie Barnes. How can I help you today, ma'am?" "Well, I'm in the market for a new car for my daughter, something new for a good value," I explained. Donnie responded with enthusiasm. "Well, the Elantras are great cars, and here at Rick Case Hyundai, we double our warranty, and this is what you get. 20 years and 200,000 mile warranty, free Rick Case, and this is free. It's 5 years, 60,000 basic limited, 3 years, 36,000 maintenance, 7 to 7,500 miles oil changes, free car washes at any Rick Case dealership. There's several in South Florida, and a 5-year unlimited mile for roadside assistance. So this is all free," he says. He continued, "We sell about 500 cars a month. I believe that's accurate. I'm not sure that's. I think that's probably new and used, but that's a large market there in South Florida. We have lots of inventory, which is, listen to the show. This hasn't always been the case, but the inventories are building up. And if you've been out of the water, or afraid to go back in the water to buy a car, it's time where you will have some ability to negotiate because new car inventories are climbing. Again, the salesperson says, let's take a walk around and let me show you what I got. He mentioned he's been at that dealership for 15 years, which is unusual for a car salesman. Very unusual to have a car salesperson that's worked for the same dealer for 15 years. Curious, I asked, what's the best deal and the best vehicle you think you have for me today? Kind of being wide open about giving him the ability to steer her to whatever car she wants. Again, our mystery shopper. He laughed. Now, you know, everyone pays a different price for every car. I can tell you that. Now, that surprised me, so I'm going to repeat it. It's true. That's why the Federal Trade Commission is trying to take action. But here it is, a salesman actually laughing about this, and this is what the salesperson told me, as I'm the mystery shopper. Now, you know, everyone pays a different price for every car. And that's true. I mean, the same car, 5 people come in, they get 5 different prices, and they pay 5 different prices and go drive the cars out. Unbelievable. Playing down my ass, well, isn't this window sticker the price? I was pointing to the Monroney label on the new 2024 Hyundai Elantra SEL. The MSRP was $26,825. MSRP $26,825. Donnie, the salesman, replied, well, we have fees, and then we can work from there. Slipped it in real casual, like, we have fees. Yep, you got fees, all right. He added, I'm here for you, and will do whatever I can do to get you into a car. How soon are you looking to buy? What a shame that the game has to be played this way. The old, I'm on your side, and we're going to team up against that mean old sales manager, and then we're going to go back and forth, and haggle, and then you'll get a price that'll be different from anybody else that bought the same car. But that's the way it is, folks, today. If the price is right now, I said, I'll buy the car. That's an answer to his question. How soon am I looking to buy? He liked my answer, suggested we head inside for him to work up a price. Once inside at his desk, Donnie mentioned again his long tenure at the dealership, and that's admirable, I have to say. Give him credit. He was having problems logging into the computer, complained about the systems. After about 7 minutes, he walked away, came back, apologizing that someone must have been using his PC. Finally, he asked for my contact information. I'll be back with a price, he said, excusing himself. Come with me for a minute. I forgot to show you something, he said, leading me to another vehicle, a new Sonata in the showroom. All our vehicles have this additional sticker on them. Whoops. Now we know we're going to have some more fees, and now we know there's an additional sticker. It was an addendum label for Rick Case benefits that listed some freebies like lifetime car washes, as well as $1,795 charge for a protection package with no details. Maybe they're going to protect the driver. I don't know. $1,795. And $595 decor package, also bereft of explanation. So there's $2,390 they're going to add to the price with no explanation. Huh?
Just because.
Just because, yeah. He acted confused about why the car we'd seen earlier didn't have one. Well, it confuses everybody. That's the whole purpose of it. I expressed my disappointment about over-sticker prices. Back at his desk, he asked, what was the window sticker on the Elantra? Didn't you take a picture of it? Yes, I confirmed. It was $26,825. He showed me their price on his worksheet and tried to justify the markup. Now, this is really tap dancing. This is really smoke and mirrors. He was selling it for $28,825, starting $2,000 over MSRP, starting at $2,000. He added the $799 dealer fee. Very few people use the old-fashioned term dealer fee. That used to be the only word, but they still call theirs dealer fee at Rick Case. $132 electronic filing. If we had an earlier caller complaining about that, it's a favorite, and that's just profit to the dealer. And $1,295, this is really evil. This is really illegal, and this is really stupid. $1,295 for inland freight. Now, freight is baked into the invoice and the MSRP of the Hyundai that the Hyundai manufacturer, sold the Hyundai to Rick Case for. So it's already in the price. And now Rick Case is double dipping and charging twice for the freight. $12.95. You can't make that stuff up, folks. My real price, once the smoke had cleared and the smoke and mirrors, was $31,051. $4,226 over MSRP. You can't blame them for asking, right? Well, I blame them. Donnie said the price we pay for a car versus the window sticker isn't much less. Now, that's an out and loud, bull-faced lie. Donnie, you're a damn liar. It's absolutely. Rita Case, do you hear this? I hope you're listening. It's just unconscionable that this salesperson would be blatantly lying. I mean, if you're going to lie, be clever about it. It's not even clever. Frustrated, I replied, I'm not here to play games. I've been upfront about looking for a good deal today. You said you got me, that you'd get me, but this above MSRP isn't acceptable. I'm done here. Donnie, taking a back question, what do you mean? You want my best price, but you aren't even buying a vehicle today? I told you if the price is right, I was buying now, I retorted. He offered to speak with his manager, but I was skeptical. After a brief wait, I decided to leave frustrated with the experience. But I don't blame Agent Lightning one bit. You see where you're going when you get a salesman like Donnie. He's smooth, he's slick, he's likable, and those are the dangerous ones. And he's been doing this for 14 years, and he's been getting away with it, or otherwise he wouldn't be there for 14 years. So this guy is dangerous, and that's my analysis of that. We've got pictures of all the addendum labels and the rest of it, and we now have to get to the vote, and we've got very little time left. So let's count the votes. Rick, you got any over there?
We've got a couple already coming in. I'm waiting for my folks here to get this up and going here. Okay, here we go. Anne Marie, illegal equals automatic F. She keeps it short and sweet, right to the point.
Yeah.
Bob from Maryland, F for frustration and false information for Rick Case Hyundai. Again, short, sweet, to the point. Let's come over here, and we've got Joseph Kelleher, simply says F. Tom Steckel, quite a case study, F. Illegal freight charges and addendums. Sad that they're stealing charges and are sad that they're stealing from 500 people every month. Compare with Central Florida Hyundai, owned by Mullinax. Kirk in West by God, Virginia. Now you know every dealer gets a different grade based on their performance. Oh, you have fees? There's a downgrade there. Oh, additional sticker? Another downgrade. And lies to boot? Solid F minus. Mark Anderson, F. Double dipping on freight charges. Wow. Okay, and over to this side, let's see here. Biagio Albano. I feel that a simple out-the-door price on a new car would help increase sales. Total agreement, sir. Johnny Z. Fradley, D. Oh, he's being nice. He says, I bought a new 1980 Civic from Rick Case's first car dealership in Cleveland. Back then, they didn't have all those markups.
That's right.
Brian Sidlatko, if I wanted to double dip, I would go to Baskin Robbins. My grade is an F. Mark Ryan, D minus for Donnie and F overall. And Tim Gilliland simply says D minus. For me, as you say, Earl, we got to keep it on the curve. So I'm going to say D minus. It's hilarious what they're pulling there, and I think maybe we should consider a stun gun for part of Agent Lightning's protection package there, because she might need it with some of these salesmen coming up.
Nancy?
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you had any doubt as to why we talk about the Federal Trade Commission, if you're wondering why Earl is talking to them, right here, right now, Here's a dealership that is, I'm not even going to waste any words, but the bait and switch tactics, the hidden fees, it just says it all. It's time for the FTC to get involved. And you know how I feel about all this. It's an automatic F. He can keep his car washes, and he can put them, well, never mind.
Ooh. Well, as most of you know, I don't give out Fs very often, and almost never. And I'm going to put an F on this one. It was absolutely terrible. And I'm also going to send this Rick Case Hyundai mystery shopper report to the Federal Trade Commission. I've got several contacts up there that we're texting and calling back and forth. Maybe I could get it to them before they go to the judge in Texas, federal judge, to make this Federal Trade Commission Act not happen. But this is one of the worst reports. I'm going to have to think about this. We might have a new Napleton here, and I don't know what happened to Rick Case. Rick Case used to be an okay dealer. He passed away a couple of years ago. Rita Case, maybe you're not watching the store. Something's going on, and you need to take a look at your Hyundai store. Well, I think we're going to we'll shop some other Rick Case dealerships to see if this is spread.
Good idea. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, and to remind you we'll be right back here next week from 8 until 10 o'clock. Have a great weekend, and thank you again for joining us.